Paper was like gold in medieval times.
Oh, not tobacco, sugar.
That everything we thought we knew about the world might turn out to be completely wrong.
Tanzania, East Africa, an untamed natural wonder. It's massive, it's diverse, it's deadly. It's also where you feel alive. Africa has no shortage of powerful, awe-inspiring animals. For 3 decades, I've had enormous respect for one such animal, the hippopotamus. "20 years ago, I had the opportunity to get up close and personal to a hippo. It happened while my wife Dee and I were on a 12-day solo canoe trip, and the unexpected happened. We were attacked. It ended up biting through our canoe, tipping us into the water and narrowly missing my legs, which would have certainly been ripped to shreds. I suspect we had floated over top of him. He was probably asleep, and we scared him. And I think when he bit the canoe, it scared him as much as it did us. We were lucky that day. We managed to repair our canoe and carry on. But since that experience, I've never looked at hippos in quite the same way. I've returned to Africa for a different kind of hippo experience. I've heard about a sacred hippo pool where you can have a spiritual experience with hippos. It's a place that I'm trying to find now, but to get there, I have to go to a little village by the name of Mekangaga. It's there where I'm to meet a fellow they call the Hippo Whisperer. There are no sneaky backwoods trails leading to Mekangaga's sacred hippo pool. There's one road in, and it runs right through the middle of the village. And make no mistake, these people are the gatekeepers. I think I see who I'm supposed to meet. Hello, greetings, Yohaya. Very, very pleased to meet you.
Okay.
Very pleased to meet you.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Karibu.
Karibu.
Yes,
Makangaga.
please welcome.
Makangaga.
Welcome to Makangaga.
Well, thank you very, very much.
He said that Amenishi allow you to do wherever you want.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you very, very much. That's great. It looks like we are good to go. With official permission from the village, we continue our journey. The road in is brutal, and for the first while, passes through a rugged landscape. But then, out of nothing, the landscape blossoms. Appearing before us, an oasis. This place is like no other in all of Africa. Here the shade deepens, the air cools, the sounds change. It's like a journey to Middle-earth. The truck can only take us so far. For the final approach, we walk. I'm joined by Yahya and a fellow simply known as Grub. Grub is working with the villagers on ways to protect the pool. And if the name Grub rings a bell, well, it should. Despite being born and raised in the wilds of Africa, Grub had a high-profile childhood. His mother is none other than the world-renowned conservationist Jane Goodall. Together, she and Grub hope to save this sanctuary.
From the very first time I came here, I felt this special connection with the place here. You know, I remember walking down the slope, and it was almost like walking into a scene from Jurassic Park. You know, with the trees and the vines and the pool. There was something very magical and almost mysterious about this place that I fell in love with immediately.
We are now getting very close to the pool.
He's communicating with the hippos. He's letting them know that he's on his way down to the edge of the pond.
Then, something magical happens.
They're answering him. This is astounding. This takes my understanding of hippos to a whole new level. He's communicating with the hippos. What is Yahya saying?
So, but he's basically just greeting the hippos, telling them they mustn't be worried. We're not here to harm them.
There's no doubt about it. They're surfacing and looking at him and listening to him.
What we are witnessing is remarkable. But what might even be more amazing is this has been going on for 100 years. Literally for 3 generations, Yahya's family has watched over the pool. It all started many years ago with a villager named Chimombo. Chimombo was a fisherman, and one day he disappeared while fishing at this pond. Legend has it he had become a hippo. And to this day, the villagers believe these very hippos carry the souls of their ancestors.
There's something happening here. It's taking my understanding of hippos and their relationship with us a little bit deeper. It's a remarkable indication of the kind of spiritual connection that the local people have here with the hippos, and I find it fascinating. We're gonna do some eavesdropping on them. That exhalation was one of their aggressive maneuvers. It's designed to scare you, which it did. The underwater life of hippos is extraordinary. To see their beautiful, graceful movements almost resembles that of a whale, which isn't much of a stretch, because whales are hippos' closest living relative. This is a world we rarely see or hear. But if you listen closely, it's a world full of song. Think about it. For over a century, someone from Yahaya's village has sat in this very spot, on this very log perhaps, and talked to the hippos. For most of us in the Western world, we may find this hard to understand. But for Yahaya, when he looks out into this pool, he sees a connection to the past.
This morning I heard Yahaya when he was talking to the hippos, and I heard him saying to the hippos how the world is changing. I've seen so many beautiful places in Africa destroyed because of development, and hopefully for our intervention we can help to prevent this. So Yahaya is gradually introducing the hippos to the idea that, the world is changing and that this is very important if they want to be basically saved.
I've been traveling Africa for over 30 years, and I can count on one hand the number of places that I have visited that are this profoundly beautiful and tranquil. And it just fills me full of that understanding of the need to make sure places like this don't disappear. And I guess if I was to think about what the hippo whisperer might say, Ze
Chimombo.
Chimombo
Habari.
Habari. And Chimombo means hippo.
Yeah.
Ah. Thank you very much.
Oh.
This is spectacular. Absolutely astounding. The drama begins. Serengeti in Tanzania. I've made over 50 treks to this special corner of the world. Its savage beauty is timeless. This is the classic Africa of our school books, where big game is king. I can't think of any other place on Earth with such a staggering volume and variety of wildlife found in the great wide open. But amongst all this beauty, there is also tragedy. I'm here to witness a struggle regarded as one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, the Great Wildebeest Migration. This is absolutely astounding. When I look out there, every corner of the compass, nothing but wildebeest, as far as the horizon. And I can't help but think that this is what it was like probably a couple of hundred years ago in North America with our bison populations. Numbering over 2 million, the wildebeest are the most abundant big game species in Africa. It's remarkable to think that wildebeest have survived as long as they have here in such numbers. And they're in constant movement. The migration doesn't happen just at a certain time of the year. The migration is happening throughout the year.
It just depends on where the rains are in the Serengeti ecosystem. Each year, they will travel over 1,000 kilometers circling the Serengeti in search of green grass, in what is simply called the Great Migration. The annual journey is a 3,000-kilometer circuit around the Serengeti. Needless to say, a herd of 1 million-plus animals doesn't sneak past many predators. The Great Migration could also be called the Great All-You-Can-Eat Buffet. The entire journey has danger riding shotgun. There are years when 250,000 animals don't complete the journey. This is incredible. One of nature's most magnificent scenes. As far as I can see, nothing but wildebeest. They're all amassing here to eventually cross that river right down there. And it's right here at the Mara River where this epic journey reaches its climax. This crossing may be nature's most incredible mass event. In bad years, over 10,000 wildebeest will have died in one day. The drama begins. All it takes is one animal to make the plunge. Then all hell breaks loose. The river and predators claim their victims, but often it's the crush of the stampede that creates the most carnage. After I witness something like that, it just floods me full of satisfaction, but it leaves me with an intense feeling of emotion. It was very powerful. We were in Tanzania to go and visit Jane Goodall, conservation superstar. Being just naturalists out there in the wilds.
It was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
I've been a fan of Jane Goodall since I was a kid, when I first saw her on a National Geographic special in my own living room. She was, and still is in my books, a conservation superstar. After spending decades with chimpanzees in Tanzania, her groundbreaking research changed how we think about these amazing animals. In 1987, I booked Dr. Goodall for her first speaking engagement in Western Canada. Well, following the event, my wife and I took Jane hiking, being just naturalists out there in the wilds. When I dropped her off at the airport, she invited us to come and visit her in Gombe. I said, "Are you serious?" She said, "Yes, of course."
Well, how can you turn down an opportunity like that? 6 months later, we were in Tanzania working our way across the country to go and visit Jane Goodall.
It was a remarkable week. We tagged along with Jane and her research assistants, following chimps from dawn until dusk. Jane pioneered the practice of naming chimps rather than assigning them numbers, and we spent a lot of time with members from the famous F family of chimps, including one very special character named Frodo. Named for the pint-sized humble hobbit in Lord of the Rings, Frodo had grown to be larger and stronger than any of his peers. He also had a nasty reputation to go with his size, and he didn't just bully chimps. He'd been known to get physical with humans, too. Lucky me, I seemed to attract Frodo's attention. Maybe it was my camera, maybe it was because I wasn't wearing a shirt, but eventually Frodo thought it was important to show me who was boss.
It was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
It was all over very quickly, and it left a few marks. But all in all, I found the experience thrilling. One of the best experiences I've ever had.
Jane told me that Frodo might approach, and if he does, make sure that your camera strap is around your neck, make sure that you don't let him get anything, because if he gets it, he's gonna take off with it.
But Frodo wasn't finished with me. A bit later, he approached me again, only this time the results were quite different.
He pulled my head down and he started to groom the back of my neck. And I could feel his lips going through my hair. My heart was absolutely pounding with excitement. So I put my hand around and he grabbed my hand and put it on his tummy, which is stretched as tight as a drum. And then I started to groom Frodo. And Frodo calmed down right away and his lower lip relaxed and drooped down. It just blew me away. I was just overwhelmed with excitement. It ultimately ended in the most incredible contact.
Words will never do this moment justice. Recently, I received word that Frodo had passed away. For 37 years, he was a huge presence in Gombe, a dominant hunter, fighter, and alpha male. Gombe won't feel the same with Frodo gone. But I can guarantee he'll never be forgotten.